So after another dramatic weekend in the Championship, we are back for another episode of the Championship Roundup. As always, I'm very interested to get your guys' thoughts on what you made of the action this weekend. We had a lot of late comeback over this weekend in the Championship. We had red cards, a lot of controversial decisions and all that good stuff. So leave all your thoughts in the comments down below. We also have a new side who is sat top of the Championship, which we'll get to. But before we do get into anything, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors over at OneFootball. Really cool football app, which I'll leave a link to in the top line of the description down below. We do have a game going on tonight in the Championship. That's the Stoke taking on West Brom, so you can follow that game over on the OneFootball app. You can also check out all the games we talk about throughout today's video in a little bit more detail. Really cool football app. I use it all the time and I'd highly recommend it. So like I said, leave a link in the top line of the description. And before we do get into any of the games, I will include your guys' score predictions on screen now. So fair play if any of you did get any of yours right this week. It was a pretty tough one for predictions. I didn't get any of mine right and I was on a pretty good roll before this week. But like I said, a lot of unpredictable results this weekend. Let's get into talking about the action. So starting out with Friday night's game, which saw Barnsley have a late comeback against Bristol City. This one ending as a 2-2 draw. From Bristol City's standpoint, a disappointing result ultimately, given they were 2-0 up in this game. Although Barnsley did start fairly brightly for this game. Although goals have been maybe a little bit of an issue for Barnsley at times, you know, earlier on in the season they were really struggling to score. I still see quite a bit of potential with the players they've got going forward. You know, Wilkes had a good chance early on, which was well saved by Daniel Bentley. Connor Chaplin had a chance which was turned onto the post by Bentley. And speaking of Daniel Bentley, by the way, what a signing he's been for Bristol City so far. He really has been keeping them in a lot of games. I saw a stat the other day saying that Bristol City have faced more shots against them than any other side so far this season in the Championship. So Daniel Bentley really has been rescuing them a lot of points, but that may be a bit of an alarming statistic and would suggest that they leave themselves a little bit too open at times. You know, they have perhaps still been lacking the player like Adam Webster. Having Callis back now is going to be a boost. But even looking at the goals they conceded in this one, still maybe a bit of an area of weakness for Bristol City. The two goals Bristol City did score, fairly similar really. Two headers, one by Ashley Williams in the first half, the second by Vyman in the 71st minute, which did look to wrap up the game, but Barnsley got back into it with a header of their own, and then Corley Woodrow, Barnsley's golden boy really, scored the equaliser on the 94th minute. A big point for Barnsley, but they just need to start turning these draws into wins. They are 23rd in the table, although they have drawn 3 of their last 5 matches. It's small margins like that, which, I mean, they need to start winning games if they are going to climb out of this position. And as the early kickoff on Saturday, we had Swansea beating Wigan by 2-1. Wigan's impressive home run has come to an end in this one as Swansea grabbed a last-minute winner now. Now this game goes to beg the question, are Wigan Athletic ever going to score from open play ever again? Who knows? But it was Swansea who took the lead in this one. A really nicely worked goal, Burst and Selena with the assist and Dyer with the finish. But Wigan responded really well to going behind, and I've said this a lot on the channel lately. Wigan have only got 1 win from their last 5 matches. I felt they've got quite unlucky in quite a few of those games. They're getting into very good areas, it's just they're not capable of taking their chances from open play. They did get back into the game from the penalty spot though. Keith Moore finally getting off the mark for this Championship season, getting his first goal. And after that in the second half they had some brilliant chances, you know. Jamal Lowe hit the crossbar after a nice counter-attacking move. Keith Moore did go through on goal, but Ben Wilmot recovered absolutely brilliantly to make a crucial block. And then in the later stages of this game, Swansea was still in there because Wigan couldn't take their chances. And then Sam Surridge with the last-minute winner. I think it was both substitutes combining. Roberts with the assist, but what 3 points that is for Swansea, especially given all the other sides at the top won this weekend as well. After that, we then had Blackburn beating Sheff Wednesday by 2-1. The home side turned this one around fairly late on as well, and the result which you really felt Blackburn needed, especially after last time against Preston. This time it was Blackburn having the late comeback. From Sheff Wednesday's point of view, bit of a disappointing performance really, given the circumstances that Blackburn currently find themselves in. You know, I really thought that Wednesday would look to maybe impose themselves a little bit more. You know, we've seen when teams put this Blackburn side under immense pressure at the back, they have crumbled a bit, but I thought Blackburn did fairly well. They started out fairly positively and Kieran Westwood was forced into a few saves, made a really good save from Sam Gallagher in the first half and an excellent save from Rothwell in the second half. But despite not being Sheff Wednesday's best performance, it looked like they might have gone to score the winner. Murphy basically had a tap-in the 83rd minute to give Sheff Wednesday the lead. At that point, you're probably thinking they're going to go ahead and close it off, but fair play to Blackburn for getting back into this one. Adrobai with an absolutely fantastic looping header, and then John Buckley with a deflected effort made it 2-1. Wednesday did very nearly get back into the game. Fernando Forestieri hitting a post, and then Christian Walton was able to save the rebound as well. But a big 3 points for Blackburn in that one. Wednesday bit disappointing. It was two of the most informed sides in the Championship meeting at Griffin Park this weekend, and Huddersfield took full advantage with all 3 points. Colin Grant scoring the only goal of the game, and they continue this amazing run they're going under since the arrival of Danny Cowley. Now, speaking of the goal itself from Colin Grant, absolutely superb finish. He's got to be one of the most lethal strikers at the Championship at the moment. That sort of goal fame is becoming the trademark. Absolutely smashing finish. David Ray had absolutely no chance, but it's crazy to see the transition that Huddersfield have had from the past few months. In terms of the endeavour, the work rate, the football they're playing, everything's a total contrast, and this result I don't think can be underestimated either. You know, Brentford have been playing some brilliant football before this, 9 goals in their previous 3 matches, but Huddersfield went there and kept a clean sheet. They sat in, they frustrated Brentford when they needed to. Grabber, the goalkeeper, made some very good saves for this one, and Brentford, like I said, just found themselves to be quite frustrated. Huddersfield did very well on the counter-attacks, and then when their chance did come around, they went and took that, so big statement from Huddersfield there. Cardiff beat Birmingham by 4 goals to 2. This one being a really dramatic game. We had 2 red cards in this one, and the referee just made some strange decisions. I've got to say that Birmingham started this one out really well. They took the lead after 3 minutes from a set piece. Pedersen opening the scoring for Birmingham, and then after that, for the first 20 or so minutes, they were looking really good and could have had a few more goals. But then Cardiff were awarded a penalty for... I'm still not sure, to be honest. I've watched this replay back over and over again. I'm still none the wiser as to why that penalty was given, really. Even so, Joe Riles goes ahead and sticks that away, and then suddenly Cardiff are back in the game. Cardiff then go ahead and take the lead before half-time. This goal coming from a corner. Defensively, a little bit weak from Birmingham, and we have seen that, especially away from home. They've been maybe a little bit defensively weak in a couple of situations. You know, we saw them concede 3 at Derby and at Swansea before this. Cardiff then go down to 10 men as Danny Ward is sent off. I think rightly so. It was a very rash challenge, but that didn't stop Cardiff from getting the 3rd goal. Joe Riles got his 2nd of the game. Birmingham were then pushing to get back into it late on. Ivan Sunjic got an absolute belter of a goal, but then Harley Dean was sent off in the 93rd minute, and then Birmingham's misery was compiled with another Joe Riles penalty, making it 4-2 to Cardiff. So Cardiff bouncing back from what was a horror show last time. Birmingham started really well, and then as decisions started to go against them, they sort of fell apart in the second half. And then we had Derby beating Middlesbrough by 2 goals to 0. Tom Lawrence scoring both goals in this game. Now, obviously, Tom Lawrence has been in the headlines this season for all the wrong reasons so far, but I've got to say, judging by this performance individually, he was the best player on the pitch in this game. He was absolutely fantastic. Scored the first goal in the 22nd minute with an absolutely smashing finish, took that goal really well. Middlesbrough weren't helped by the fact that they were reduced to 10 men in the first half. George Saville fought a really rash challenge, and I think 7 million, I want to say, Middlesbrough spent on George Saville. One of the most baffling transfers we've seen recently. Whenever he has featured this season, he's been anonymous for them. I really don't think he's been having a good time for Borough. And then obviously in the second half, Tom Lawrence wrapped it up, making it 2-0. Middlesbrough at the moment, their goal drop continues. There's another game where it just wasn't happening for them. They had a brilliant chance about 2 minutes into this one. Brett Sombolonga had taken the ball around the goalkeeper. He had the goal gaping, but somehow still didn't manage to score. In fairness, it was a good block by Clark. It's crazy to see Middlesbrough in this situation at the moment. They are still in the bottom 3. 15 games played and 12 points. It's a worrying situation when you can't score. Then we had Hull beating Fulham by 3 goals to 0. I think at this point I'm just going to give up trying to predict Hull matches because I'm never going to get one right ever again, but what an unbelievable away performance. And Fulham, what went wrong for this one? Bowler gave Hull the lead after just 9 minutes in this one. After his initial header was blocked, he followed it in with a nice volley. And Fulham, as they like to do, had a lot of the ball, but Hull played on that really well with some fantastic counter-attacking moves. Mitrovic had a good chance in the first half, but George Long, who I've really liked the look of so far this season, made an excellent save. We then get into the second half, and Jared Bowen, oh my god, how is he still in the Championship? What an unbelievable goal he scored. The directness running at Fulham, it was him versus Alfie Mawson in a 1v1 situation. Bowen was putting the ball on his left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, jinxing in and out of him. Mawson didn't know whether to back off him, commit to the tackle. He had him on absolute toast, and then a fantastic finish to make it 2-0. He was involved with the 3rd goal as well. Eventually Tom Eaves followed it in to make it 3 for Hull. Brilliant on the counter-attack. And a word on Fulham, they are still in touch with the top 6 at the moment, but you've got to say they're underperforming at the moment, and the question is asked, is Scott Parker the right man with this Fulham squad? Because I'm still in no doubt they have the best squad in the Championship, and they're currently sat 8th in the table. It probably does help that the league is so open at the moment. You know, if you string together a few wins, you're automatically catapulted like 10 places up in the league, but with Scott Parker at the moment, I'm just not sure. Then we had Leeds beating QPR by 2 goals to 0. Now, there's been a bit of a problem with Leeds going forward so far this season, them not being as clinical as they could be. Maybe Tyler Roberts is the answer for them. It's his first league start of the season, and what a fantastic performance. He scored the opening goal, great awareness about that goal, just patiently waiting on the edge of the box, and then smashing finish in at the near post to make it 1-0. And it wasn't just the goal he scored, his all-round play play was absolutely excellent, and if he does get regular game time in the Leeds squad this season, he really could be a fantastic prospect for the future. He did settle Patrick Bamford for a goal in the second half, although that was given to be offside. That one looked like a really close decision. I think that Patrick Bamford is just cursed at this point in front of goal, and he's destined never to score once again. But Jack Harrison eventually did wrap things up for Leeds in the 82nd minute, and touching on Leeds as a whole so far this season, they've only conceded 8 goals, which is absolutely miraculous. The best defence in the Football League, although it is looking likely that the Leeds goalkeeper Kiko Casilla could be facing a lengthy ban for something he allegedly said in the game they had against Charlton, so that could go on to impact their season. In terms of QPR for this one, it was always going to be a difficult game, and there's no real shame in losing away at Ellen Road. And then we have Forest getting back to winning ways with a 2-1 away victory at Luton. You feel like a big 3 points after the last couple of results, and obviously them missing last week as well, but did really well for this one. Lewis Grobban opened the scoring with a nice goal on the counter-attack, skipped away from 2 Luton defenders, and when it's, you know, a striker one-on-one with the keeper, Lewis Grobban's probably one of the best in the league to have in that situation. He slotted that away, and Forest were up and running. Amiobi then gets a second in the second half. I think that Luton defensively could have done a little bit better with that one, sort of snuck under the goalkeeper. And Luton saw a lot of the ball in this one, but weren't really at the races for it. They weren't perhaps as quick in transition through midfield and getting the ball forward as I have seen them in the past. They did have 2 goals ruled out for this one, so maybe you could say they've been a little bit unlucky there, but I think that on the whole, Forest were just so much more clinical going forward. McManaman did score a good goal in the 87th minute to maybe give them a bit of hope of getting back into it, but Forest held on, and a big 3 points on the road, and that's something that's been really strong for Forest so far this season, their away form as a whole. They currently sit 5th in the table. You feel like that's a big result for them. Then we have Reading beating Millwall by 2-1, especially in the first half. Reading were playing some absolutely brilliant football in this one, created a lot of chances, and the contrast from a few weeks ago, since Mark Bowen has been here, Reading have been looking really good, and that does surprise me. Obviously at the time I wasn't really sold on this whole Mark Bowen thing, but you got to give credit to him. I think he's done really good so far. Obita opened the scoring for Reading after a long throw and had fallen his way. Really good finish for that one, but then in that first half they had a whole flurry of chances. John Swift hit the crossbar for a free kick he had. They had a load more going forward. Millwall were just about managing to keep Reading at bay, but eventually they made it 2-0 before half time. Sam Bollock with an absolutely excellent finish from outside the box into the top corner, and then Reading had that 2-goal lead going into half time. Millwall in the second half I thought did improve. I thought they were a little bit timid from what we normally see from Millwall in that first half. Jabe Wallace, who is the real player on form for them at the moment, had a smashing finish, and he tried to throw a few more bodies forward into that second half, but Vartan had an overhead kick which just went wide. But Reading held on, and an impressive 3 points for them at home, you must say. Ajaria went on another one of those dazzling runs. I saw him do this against Northend a few weeks ago. It just happens when there's about 5 opposition players around him and no one can get the ball off him. It's like it's glued to him at times, but him and John Swift in midfield absolutely ran the show. They were looking brilliant. And then finally the result which has seen Preston North End go to the top of the Championship. North End beating Charlton by 1-0. Now, I thought this would be a tough game, you know, obviously going to the Valley. They put in some top performances there so far this season. Charlton have already played a lot of the top 6 and given them all a run for their money, but Charlton for this game never really got going for it. They did have a few chances in that first half, their best one probably falling in the path of Gallagher. He had a glancing header which just went wide, but apart from that, they couldn't really get on the ball and make things happen like they usually like to do. You know, Bond was quite isolated for this one. I thought that Patrick Bauer definitely got the better of him, but Northend had chances for this one, a lot of them falling in the way of Tom Barcuse, and obviously one dampener from this performance was Daniel Johnson going off injured, but it shows the strength and depth we do have to be able to bring on a player like Paul Gallagher from the bench, who eventually went on to score the winner. In the second half, Preston awarded our 7th penalty of the season. It's a little bit mad at this point, but 7 penalties and we have scored all 7. Paul Gallagher, the man on the spot to take it. We had a great chance to wrap it up when Barcusen was racing through on goal. He did have Pearson, who he could have squared it to, decided to take the shot alone, but Phillips made a good save. But in the end, Northend winning it by 1-0. I did think it was fair. I thought we were the better side and probably were worthy of all 3 points, but a big 3 points for Preston, not only because it has taken us to the top of the Championship, but with everything that's gone on with Alex Neil over the last day or so, with Stoke being interested, then making the approach. Alex Neil then came out and said that he's committing his future to Northend. The same thing happened to us last season with West Brom, and that really disrupted us for the end of that season, so it's nice to see that we put all that behind us. The situation's hopefully now all been resolved, and what a weekend. But guys, they were all the games that did go on this weekend, so as always, do leave all your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm interested to see what you guys had to say about this one. Obviously, we do have the game going on tonight as well between Stoke and West Brom. I'm back in West Brom for a 2-1 away victory, but we never know with Stoke. In terms of my result of the weekend, I think I'm going to have to give it to Hull City, 3-0 away at Fulham. I'm actually going to give them the double whammy as well. My goal of the week is going to go to Jared Bowen for his goal against Fulham. Absolutely fantastic player. But apart from that, that will now wrap it up, guys. So thanks very much for watching. If you did go on to enjoy it, make sure you do leave a like. Make sure you subscribe for a bit of regular Championship content. But apart from that, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.